Fuck me. Fuck me.
Sexual style.
Fuck me.
Fuck me.
Welcome back, everybody, to episode 20 of Two White Guys Doing Podcast, Make Fun Times Happy Internet Video.
We never did give this podcast a name, did we?
Nope, as you can tell, AJ's under the weather because he's been sucking too many dicks. His poor little throat's all worn out.
Yeah. Alright, so we got a couple of games for you guys. We're going to start out with the smudge hints. You guys know how much you love mixing smudge and bad hints together to form one beautiful concoction.
It's when you put the smudge picture with the hints. James got 3 guessing it begins. I hope you happy as you all watching. James probably fuck more cocks than a head. Urban human penis. See it cause it's so damn scenic. Blink twice and you may not see it. Hybrid like a fucking Prius. That baby done got a gun. You see that baby and run. James swallow mayo cause he say so likes it on his bum.
And then we'll go to our intermission. And then we got something at the end we're going to do. It's a little bit new. Just a little bit new. Alright? A little bit fucking new.
Finally, some original content, you're thinking. Well, guess again, bitches.
Oh, not that kind of new. Alright, so there is your picture. Extremely hard to tell. By the way, these are all football related. That's why this one is so horrible. And first hint. Ohio State University made a good choice with this 4-star recruit. It was drafted number 47 in the second round.
Oh, is it Geno Smith?
Nope. Here's number 2. Second hint. 2019 All-Pro Offensive Player of the Year, and he's Keyshawn Johnson's nephew.
Mike Thomas?
That's it. Mike Thomas.
Okay, yeah.
Got it in 2.
It looked more like Seahawk colors at first, but now I can clearly see it's like Saint colors.
Alright, there is your image for hint number 1. Hint number 1. Chicago born, but Ohio raised. He also played at Ohio State University and was drafted 10th overall in the first round.
What the fuck is this? I'm just gonna pass.
2022 All-Pro Offensive Rookie of the Year. And he plays under a dark curse of a team who angered the gods. And there's the second picture.
So he was in the 2022 draft, 10 overall. Is it Jamar Chase?
Nope. That is a good guess.
No, so it's gotta be Justin Jefferson.
I think both of them were the year before. This is 2022.
Oh shit! Yeah. You're right. Oh, before the hint, is it Garrett Wilson?
That's it, Garrett Wilson.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And the last hint was, who's on the Jets, has no one to pass on the ball, and where's Green?
That's true of a lot of the Jets, sadly.
It is. There's no one on the Jets you want to play, not because of their talent. Alright, folks, for the last one. Hint number 1. This little motherfucker played at the University of Michigan for a while, but he was a backup for 2 years while he was there.
Is it Jarrett McKinnon?
Nope. Here's the second one, so now you know it's a Super Bowl champ. Didn't receive any end-of-year awards with All-Pro or stat leaders, but he did receive a Super Bowl MVP. And this is the year that this picture was taken.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be Brady, right? That looks like a Bucks logo on the shirt.
Yep, that's it. I tried to blur that a little more. I should have blurred it more. 2020 Super Bowl winner on his new team for the first time in almost 2 decades. That was the final hint.
I mean, Jared McKinnon and Tom Brady have a combined, 9 Super Bowls, I think,
That's
between
true.
them.
Let's go to intermission now. We're going to start with the photo op. We're just going to say Trina, because there was a fun little thing I could do here.
It's fun to say Trina. You try it at home. Say Trina.
Tell us
Very
a little bit
good.
about this.
I see what's going on here. Yeah, I don't recognize the anime this is from, but yeah, when you're up 30 points and you have Christian McCaffrey left to go versus George Kittle and whoever the fuck the tight end on the Cowboys is, you kind of feel pretty good about it, and then you fuck around and you lose. Decided to trade for Kirk Cousins the week before and watch him shit the bed while Joe Burrow, who started 3 weeks in a row to no success whatsoever, decides to fucking feed Jamar Chase 3 weeks worth of stats in one night.
I actually merged him in with the pixels of the bird. Can you see that Jordan crying face?
Vaguely, yeah. I can see there's something fucked up with the bird's eye, but...
And then we've got the Get to Know James. So as you guys know, James, he's got a very well-kept beard. Everything is very, kind of professional. He used to be a guy that had different facial hairstyles and stuff. So tell us a little bit about this.
But yeah, no, this is when I was on a whim. I was like, what if I had 2 dicks growing out of my face? And so that's what I went for. I mean, if my mustache connected to my beard like that, maybe I would grow the double dicks just as a thank you of acceptance for allowing me the opportunity to have such facial hair. But yeah, no, that's a lifetime of commitment. I mean, that's easily like 2 years worth of facial hair growth that you then chose to sculpt that way. So, I mean, what a weird motherfucker.
And then he shaved the bottom here too, which I hate it even more. All right, well, that does it for the intermission.
Siamese dick mustache. Well, moving right along to the next segment then. As you may have noticed, viewers, there's a lot of football talk that goes on, and this guy here claims to know a lot about football, despite the fact that I don't think his name appears anywhere on this trophy. So despite that being the case, I thought maybe we would test his knowledge with some NFL trivia. Clearly not ripping this off from the YouTube source that we stole the game from. All right, so here we go with some football trivia. AJ, your first challenge is to name every player with 6 or more rushing touchdowns in the 2022 NFL season. You can try to go from highest to lowest if you want, but that's not necessary.
Miles Sanders had at least 6 rushing touchdowns.
Miles Sanders is correct with 11.
Josh Jacobs.
Josh Jacobs had 12.
Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry, number 2 on the list. 13.
Nick Chubb.
Tied for number 5 at 12 with Josh Jacobs and one other person there. Well, if you think back to last year, there was one guy in particular who played way above his pay grade and led the league in touchdowns by a significant margin.
Jamal Williams did.
Jamal Williams certainly did with 17. That motherfucker. That anime-loving motherfucker.
Dalvin Cook probably had at least 6.
With 8.
Saquon Barkley.
Saquon did. Saquon came in at number 9 with 10.
Najee Harris.
Najee Harris had an okay year with 7.
Oh, McCaffrey.
McCaffrey definitely had at least 6 touchdowns. He came in at 8.
Elliott he had the record last year of most consecutive games with at least 1 touchdown, and he kept it going. So Ezekiel Elliott has to be up there.
He is tied for number 5 at 12.
Austin Eckler.
Austin Eckler, Johnny on the spot. He sure did. Some would argue that he won me the league last year.
Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker had an okay year. Right there at the 10th spot, tied with one person with 9 touchdowns.
Joe Mixon.
Joe Mixon, next off the list for 7 touchdowns.
I forgot, we're not just talking about running backs, right?
We're not. However, in a strange twist of fate, last year, Lamar Jackson did not have 6 or more rushing touchdowns. That is strike number 1. Jalen Hurts. Last one off of the first column. You're Eagles quarterback with 13.
Josh Allen.
Josh Allen did, in fact, achieve 7 rushing touchdowns last year.
Taysom Hill.
Taysom Hill is correct with 7.
Dylan, Aaron Jones' backup, had some touchdowns.
A.J. Dillon is on the board.
Jonathan Taylor. Did he?
Jonathan Taylor did not play last year, was out on injury all last year. That is strike number 1 for A.J. Put a big red X up on the screen.
James Conner, he probably got some.
James Conner did get him some.
Cam Akers finally started getting touchdowns when they were supposed to be on a different team.
There are still 2 quarterbacks left on this list. I will give you that for free.
Cordell Patterson?
Cordell Patterson is on the list prior to the Falcons acquiring a bajillion more people to run the ball instead of Cordero, or Cordy P as he is affectionately known in some parts of the internet.
What about Jeff Wilson?
Jeff Wilson did not make the list. That is strike number 2.
Justin Fields.
Justin Fields had a lot of touchdowns on the ground.
And there's one more quarterback Who is likely? Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones had to have got that.
Danny Dimes did indeed run him in some touchdowns. Unfortunately, Danny Jones has reached his body's hit count and is now on the sidelines. The offense will look no different. So I will tell you, you have two folks left on this list. They are both running backs. One of them is definitely a forehead slapper if you fail to get him, and the other one I wouldn't feel so bad about not getting.
Tony Pollard should probably be up there.
Tony Pollard should be up there. This player is not a starter and has not been a starter for several years.
Deontay Foreman?
It is not Deontay Foreman. Put another big X up on the screen. I will tell you, AJ, as your hint for this guy, that he has played for a total of 6 teams in his career, and he is currently on a team in the AFC North.
Latavius Murray?
Latavius Murray with 6 sneaky touchdowns across a tumultuous 2022 that saw him play for both Denver and New Orleans. Thought that was easy, AJ. Don't worry. The next one we have queued up is every player to have 7 or more receiving touchdowns in 2022.
Jamar Chase.
Jamar Chase is on the board here, tied for number 6.
Justin Jefferson and A.J. Brown. Got to go with the big wigs.
Justin Jefferson is on the board here with 8. And then A.J. Brown is on the board here with 11.
Devontae Adams is probably number 1, right?
Devontae Adams was number 1 last year with 14.
Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs right there with 11.
Travis Kelce. I bet you that's who that is.
That is who that is. Thanks in no large small part to the 4 touchdowns he scored in one game on our Las Vegas Raiders.
Christian McCaffrey.
Christian McCaffrey had 6, I believe, along with a lot of other folks, which is why I cut off the list where I did. That is your first strike.
Last year was the year of the tight end.
If you were watching me walk away, then I would say so.
So let's say George Kittle.
Let's say George Kittle. Why don't we? George Kittle had 11 touchdowns last year.
Let's do NFC East. So Cowboys, I bet you CeeDee Lamb was up there.
CeeDee Lamb was up there.
Devontae Smith had, I'm pretty sure he had 7. I should know, I'm an Eagles fan.
You are correct.
Yeah, let's say Christian Watson for the Packers.
Christian Watson is on the board. In case you didn't notice, everybody tied for 15th had 7 touchdowns.
Tyler Lockett, because I know he had a good year with yards.
Tyler Lockett did have 9 touchdowns last year.
Christian Kirk.
He got in the end zone 8 times.
It's Ayuk.
And he did haul all 8 through the air.
Let's do Miami. I bet you both of them. Let's do Hill and Waddle.
Why don't we do Hill and Waddle? And let me select 2 cells at once to save time.
I remember now that we mentioned it. You said Hill only had 7 last year.
But he had a shitload of yards and
right.
Waddle had all the touchdowns. Hill didn't close that gap until late in the season.
Fucking McKinnon. What team? Was it McKinnon?
McKinnon had 9 touchdowns last year through the air. I'll give you this for free. There are still 2 tight ends left on the board here.
Cole Kmet.
Cole Kmet managed to catch 7 balls.
Amari Cooper went there. I bet you he did.
I'll bet you he did too. And I'll bet you he had 9.
The Commanders' number 1 last year was McLaurin, but the touchdown guy was, I think they're number 2. I gotta be honest, I don't remember his name.
I will give you Commander's number 2 because he is Jahan Dotson.
Dotson, that's his
and
name.
he is on there.
Guy. Okay. But DJ Moore.
DJ Moore had 7.
Dallas Goedert.
Incorrect. Dallas Goedert did not have 7 receiving touchdowns.
Who was the guy who was doing like what Taysom Hill did? He was a tight end receiver, and you could put him in either slot. His last name is Johnson. I can't remember his first name.
His first name is Jawan. Jawan Johnson had 7 touchdowns last year.
T. Higgins.
There it is, the name that everybody was probably screaming that you were just leaving off there.
So there's 1 left.
Let's rattle him off then.
He's also a number 2.
He's also a number 2, and his I'll give you one further hint since it already kind of implies it. The number 1 from his team is also on this list.
Gabe Davis.
Gabe Davis is our last 7 touchdown recipient. This next one is a specific attack on your integrity as an Eagles fan. Every Eagles player to throw, catch, or carry a touchdown in 2022. So this is every Eagles player to throw a touchdown, receive a touchdown, or run a touchdown in.
All right, well, let's start off with out of the quicksand with Gardner Minshew.
Gardner Minshew. Ooh, interesting first poll, but I like it.
I'm going to try to get the ones that are easy to forget first. Fast-ass Quez Watkins.
Fast-ass Quez Watkins
Two
did
catches
have
for-
3 touctouhdowns.
How many
Yeah,
catches he had, too.
somehow got 3 touchdowns on 2 catches.
Gainwell.
Kenneth Gainwell did have some tutties last year.
Let's go ahead and do, Hurts, Goddard, and Smith,
And A.J. Brown.
Hurts,
and Sanders.
Goddard, Smith, and Sanders.
I'll say Ertz.
Ooh, I know the answer to that. Ertz is your first X. Ertz was gone prior to this season.
He was on the team, so he probably got a touchdown. Boston Scott.
Boston Scott had a couple of tuds.
When I said the list of them, I said A.J. Brown. When I went through the easy ones.
We'll check the tape on that one, folks. If he did, then I'm an asshole. But if he didn't, like I think he did, then he's the asshole. But yes, A.J. Brown did score touchdowns on your team last year.
Well, let's say Pascal.
Let's say Pascal, because it's correct. Zach Pascal had 1 receiving touchdown. This list is a funky one, and I don't expect you to succeed on it. Every non-QB with a passing touchdown in 2022.
T. Higgins.
T. Higgins did not have a passing touchdown. That is strike number 1.
Really? Okay, Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry did have a passing touchdown. I assume you noticed that I gave you their positions as a helpful little hint there.
I do now. So are we going to call Taysom Hill?
Strike number 2 there.
I was so sure the Bengals had one of those plays. I mean, fuck it, let's try it. Deebo Samuel.
Deebo Samuel is strike 3 on this one. All right, going down the list, Taysom Hill had 2 passing touchdowns, which is he's technically a quarterback, is expected. Your other wide receiver was Mr. Football, Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
The first wide receiver is an evergreen guy who started on the Jets and I think has actually caught a touchdown or 2 this year, or at least some big passes in Miami. Mr. Braxton Berrios had 1.
I would have never.
And then a bit of a controversial player this year. Many have accused him of having bricks for hands, and he has just recently been traded to a new team that he thinks, I guess, will be able to use him better. It's
Claypool.
Chase Claypool. These are our top 10 by points fantasy defenses / kickers in 2022 under our league scoring rules. So this is just in the order of the amount of points they scored, defenses and kickers intermingled.
Oh, fuck. This is impossible, man.
Yes, it is.
The Bills.
The Bills are up here at number 8 with 201 fantasy points last year.
Cowboys.
Dallas was number 3 last year, 227 points.
How many
If you
were
are guessing a kicker, I will need the name rather than the city, just for the record. Otherwise, I will assume you were referring to the defense.
Tampa Bay had a really good defense last year. Let's try them.
Tampa Bay is strike 1.
All right. 49ers. That's a solid one.
49ers were up there at the number 2 slot with 237 points.
It feels weird saying this, but I bet you the Patriots were up there too.
The Patriots,
At
historically
number 1?
good,
Are you
at number
fucking
1.
kidding me?
247 points, somehow, some way. I think they just had a shitload of 4th down stops, if I recall last year correctly. Like, they were brickhousing a lot of teams on 4th down last year.
That's insane. Jake Elliott, who didn't really kick.
Jake
that
Elliott
He had
is
lots of
strike
PATs.
number 2.
Matt Prater.
Matt Prater is strike 3, my friend. Do you want to snowball a couple more guesses now that you're out of it, or should I just go down the list?
No, I'm gonna do it not based off of what I know for fantasy, but based off just true skill. That's all I got. So let's do Justin Tucker.
Justin Tucker, number 6 at 210.
And I don't know if he's really one of the best, but last year I considered him one of the best. But Daniel Carlson, he was somebody.
Daniel
I really liked in
Carlson,
fantasy.
number 7.
I think I'm out.
Would it surprise you to learn that your Philadelphia Eagles were the 4th best defense in fantasy last year?
It's hard for me to wrap my head around knowing their defense really is like that, and then knowing how it translates to fantasy. It's difficult for me to. Yeah.
Absolutely, which is why it may surprise many people that the number 5 defense up here was Jacksonville. 210 points. Yes. But down here at the bottom, both these kickers were tied for 10th place with 199 points apiece. We have Brett Maher and Jason Myers. And that's why it was fun.
All right,
Well,
guys,
suck shit, fuckbag.
Yeah,
You
what can I
failed
say?
a lot of those.
Yeah. Well, you know what they say. Fuck off. No clever.
All right, well, suck shit, fuckbags. This episode's other. Tune in for more. Otherwise, fuck off and die.
Fuck me. Fuck me.
Sexual style.
Fuck me.
Fuck me.
Fuckbag.
Fuck off.
Fuck off and die.